Does every money talk you have with your teenager turn into a full blown argument? You say save, they say spend, and you both walk away frustrated? Well, you're not alone. This is one of the biggest struggles parents of wealth tell me about. In this video, I'll show you why arguing doesn't work and what to do instead to get your teen actually interested in saving money. We'll cover the psychology behind why teens resist and three strategies you can use to replace the fighting with teaching. And we'll start on it today, right? Watch the whole video. I appreciate you. Man's Money Academy is free. Press the link in the description. All right. So first, let's talk about why your teen pushes back on you when you try to get them to save. You would imagine anyone would want to have more money as opposed to having less money, but that's not as simple as their minds work. So the main reason is the autonomy rebellion, right? Based off of the book Emotional Lives of Teenagers by Lisa Damore. Basically, the main thing she hits on in the book is teens love autonomy. They crave independence. They've been underneath your rule for their entire life, and all they want is to become their own person and be celebrated for making their own decisions. And hopefully, those are successful decisions. So, what ends up happening is even though you give them a great, amazing suggestion, it's not theirs, it's yours. So they naturally rebel against it. Another reason why your talks about money often turn into arguments is because the difference in priorities. Us as parents, we're thinking about long term. Hey, save this here because eventually, you're going to want it to be spent on something else. Save this now so that it can be invested and investments grow over time with compounding interest. Save now because the thing you're about to buy right now, you're not even going to remember next week. All of our cares are put into long distance things while teenagers' cares are about short term things. Like, I'm hungry right now. I'm going to DoorDash this pizza. Or I see this chain online right now. I want it right now. Or for my son's case, I see these gloves, these arm sleeves, these towels for football. I have a game tomorrow. I want all that stuff right now so that I can look this way tomorrow. And finally, the emotional charge. So they want their autonomy. We have different priorities when it comes to short term and long term payoff. And finally, is their emotions. They're at the most emotional time of their life during their teenage years. And money is one of the most emotional things in the world, right? I work in finance for the Air Force. I've been working with them for 13 years. I've seen people cry. Actually, a lady came in, she was crying today because of her money. I've seen people try to fight over money. People have definitely died over money. Money's emotionally charged, teenagers emotionally charged. You put them together, it's just emotional chaos. So even though we're giving them keen advice, the lectures will automatically sound like judgment to an emotional ear. So we have to take all of these things into account when we're talking to our teenagers to better reach them. The whiz stat is 96% of parents admit to arguing with their teen about money at least once a month. And that's from Greenlight. You should know Greenlight is one of the most popular apps when it comes to money for children. Anyways, so we know these problems. We understand a little bit why we're fighting with our teens, but what can we do to fix it? So, number one, ask, right? I get it. You're an adult. You shouldn't have to ask a child for anything. That's not the point. We're trying to advance, we're trying to succeed, not protect our own ego. So, ask before you advise. So, what I mean by this is swap the lecture into curiosity. An example, instead of saying, I saw you just get that money, you better save X amount of dollars from it. Naturally, that teenager is going to spend every single dime. But instead, okay, I just saw you get $100. Hey, what do you plan on doing with it? You just sit there in silence. Don't say another word. Silence is powerful. There's tons of books that talk about it. It should be used more. So ask them, hey, What do you plan on doing with that money? Or, ooh, if you had $200, what would you do with it? And you sit there in silence, give their minds time to process it, run through different scenarios. Eventually, us as humans, we naturally want to break silence. So if you don't break it, they will. Just sit there quietly, very patient, very demure, and they'll start talking. They'll start spilling their guts about what they would do with the money. And then that in itself allows them to start the dialogue. So now they're in control of the situation as opposed to you. And then you can lightly bounce off ideas on what also might be good ideas to do with the money, not but this, right? Use also, not but, when contrasting or giving out additional insight. Okay, number two. What is number two? Share stories. Boom. All right, we're going to share stories. So, what do I mean by that? Teens will tune you out if you say things like, do this right now, commands. But if you say things like, man, this is what happened to me and it was crazy, now they're leaning in. Now they're very interested in what you're about to say next. And you can use that to share a story where when you did an impulsive spend or you didn't save and what happened right after you didn't save and the effects of that, that in itself is teaching. You don't always have to be exactly direct. Hey, put $30 into your savings account right now. That's a command that doesn't help them emotionally. It doesn't acknowledge their autonomy, none of that. But if instead you speak to them as, man, this is what happened to me. It's really tough. Oh, I wish I would have not spent all this money because right after I did, that thing broke. I didn't get the insurance because I didn't have enough money for the insurance. And now I'm just out of luck. So I didn't get the thing I wanted and I didn't save any money left over. But the next time I did it, I spent $50. I saved $30. I invested the other 20. I could not tell you what I did with that $50 the week after, but that $30 and that $20 grew and eventually covered the $50 that I lost. Those are good stories and they teach the lesson without you having to directly say what to do. So, beautiful tactic. All right. So, share stories, super important. And number three, if you've watched any of these videos before about when I'm talking about what you should do with your kid, you may know that I love failure, right? Let them learn, let them fail with training wheels. A nice controlled drowning, a nice falling off the cliff with a bungee cord, right? You don't want them to die, but you want to allow them to make their own mistakes while you can still protect them just enough for them not to die. So, a great way to do this is let them have a portion of money. And after you do that talk about what they're going to do with it, okay, you can give your little light hidden suggestion. You let them do whatever they want. And then afterwards, we're like, oh man, what'd you end up doing with that money? And then, ooh, that's another great one because then they'll end up telling you and you'll be able to see from their face if they're satisfied with what they spent the money on or if they wish they would have done something else with it. And now the next time they get money, they'll remember them having to voice their decision they did with the money. And if you ask them what they're going to do with the money again, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say something different. They're going to say something better because you already had the conversation. And this entire thing was orchestrated by them because you're just asking them what they were going to do with it. They went and did the thing. You didn't tell them it was wrong. You didn't tell them it was right. You just asked what it was. And them people having to voice things, especially things they wish they hadn't have done or that they're embarrassed of, that in itself is a lesson that will lead them to doing something better the next time. As opposed to them doing something bad and nobody ever knows about it. It doesn't, it won't stay a part of mine because there was no emotion tied to it. They didn't feel embarrassed or bad about it. So, in summary, we want to ask, not tell them what to do. Ask them what they're going to do. We want to give stories. So instead of telling them what to do, tell them about a story. It could be real or fake story. Doesn't matter. No, probably use a real story. Because the worst thing you could do is tell a fake story and then one day they find out it wasn't true and now you've lost your credibility for everything. So don't do that. Tell real stories. Doesn't have to be your story though. Maybe you tell a story about something that happened to a friend or a relative. You can find a story or a story from a movie. Movies are fantastic and they're filled with stories that have been critically acclaimed. And failure, a nice controlled drowning. Let them fail. Let them mess up with $50 so that they don't mess up with $5,000 later on. All right. And yeah, if you're interested in speaking with other parents about these things or speaking with me myself, we have a meetup every week and we have a book club meeting every other week within the Man with Money Academy. And for this entire month, it's free to join. You'll be free to join and you can stay for the rest of your life without paying a dime. And it's because I'm working on some course material. After I finish the course material, the price is going up because there's going to be way too much value in there for it to continue being free. So click the link in the description to join up. I hope to see you there. Have a good night.